Greetings, beloveds. This is Amy Karen Johnson here, the Earth Channel, here with you with a live message about the solstice. I didn't do a live message last week because I needed a little me time, but I am back again this Friday and will hopefully do another one next Friday. Without further ado, I will take a few deep breaths and close my eyes. Feel free to join me if you would like. Hello, this is Gaia. In preparation for your solstice, whether you are in the Northern Hemisphere, soon celebrating the winter solstice, or in the Southern Hemisphere, celebrating the summer solstice, the solstice is a time for reflection. With the winter solstice, you have the longest night, of course, and plenty of darkness, where the earth becomes more quiet in your area, your environment, your world, giving you time for reflection. And in the summer solstice, or at least around that time, you become aware that the long days are not forever. And whether you welcome the coming of autumn or you wish that summer would never end, you become aware that you are not in control. There are greater cycles occurring around you every year. And while you may not in the moment acknowledge it, there is a purpose for every season. So both solstices, both kinds of solstice, are times for reflection for these reasons. We would like to invite you to consider the value behind practices that you may call things such as reflection, meditation, dreaming, contemplation, or just being in nature. Even though being in nature, quote unquote, does not quite sound like those other things, most of you have the understanding that it has a similar value. Why is that? We will tell you. It is because with all of these practices, your focus, and your identification soften. What do we mean by identification? And what do we mean by soften? We mean that you become more aware of all the connections, or at least some of the connections, to yourself from nature, other worlds, other dimensions, other selves, whether younger selves, older selves, or other lifetimes, and your multidimensional self, other timelines where you have probably made other choices to greater or lesser effect. This softening helps you to understand that even though in this lifetime you may have certain regrets, if you begin to explore those connections, those other possibilities, you may find that the choices you made, although you may not make them again given the chance, brought you to a good enough place. Taught you things perhaps that you would not have learned otherwise. Gave you perspectives that you would not have come to any other way. And making a different choice, while it may have had some benefits, may have had other things that turned out not so well. And so, whichever solstice you are preparing to celebrate in the coming week, we encourage you and invite you to use that time, the time after and the time before, any time, to soften, to expand your concept of who you are. Expand your idea of what is possible. We invite you to do it right now. Breathing helps. Amy does this whenever she channels us. Closing your eyes may help. It will enliven your other senses and not just your physical senses. Listen to the knowing, the messages, and look for the images and visual messages that come from beyond your physical senses. This is the cure for so many things that may ail you. In particular, those mental ailments like anxiety and depression. Physical ailments act somewhat similarly to solstices in that they also remind you that you are not in complete control and may cause you to turn to your metaphysical senses. Use those opportunities to your greatest advantage. And you may find new pathways opening up to you. We thank you so much for joining us. Namaste, beloveds. I hope you enjoyed that message. I certainly did. I have nothing else to share at this moment, although please feel free to check out my other videos and look for the sale code in my descriptions of those other videos, especially recently. I wish you all the best possible solstice and softening. Namaste.